Okay, so how does a billionaire tycoon, a guy who's seen as a celebrated philanthropist, and the alleged mastermind of a global scam empire, just vanish into thin air? That's the mystery we're diving into today, a story of incredible power and a sudden, absolutely shocking disappearance.
So, that's the big question, right? Where is Chen Zhi? Around October 18th, 2025, this man, the chairman of the incredibly powerful Prince Group in Cambodia, just disappeared. One day he's this corporate giant, and the next, he's a ghost. And his Vanishing Act kicked off an absolute international firestorm.
And get this, the timing here is everything. This was no coincidence. It happened just a few days after the US and the UK dropped the hammer, announcing these crippling sanctions against him and his entire company. You could feel the walls closing in on him, and they were closing in fast.
To really understand the fall, you've got to understand the rise. So who exactly was this guy Chen Zhi, and how in the world did he build an empire that, at least on the surface, looked so completely legit?
Well, his climb to the top was nothing short of meteoric. He was born in China, but in 2014 he gets Cambodian citizenship, and almost immediately he launches Prince Group. He apparently leveraged some very powerful local connections and just exploded onto the scene, building a massive business that had its hands in pretty much every part of Cambodian life.
I mean, if you were just looking at the official story, Prince Group looked like a model corporation. Its portfolio was huge. We're talking massive real estate projects, a major national bank, fancy luxury hotels, telecommunications. This was the public face, polished, powerful, and totally woven into the fabric of the Cambodian economy.
But behind that polished facade, international investigators started to allege that something far, far more sinister was going on, a dark underbelly that was secretly funding the entire operation.
And at the very heart of all these accusations are these things they call scam camps. Now, forget what you know about office buildings. Investigators allege these were more like fortified compounds, places where foreign workers were tricked into coming, then trapped, and literally forced to run sophisticated online fraud operations against their will under horrible conditions.
I mean, the list of allegations is just wild. This is not petty crime. We are talking about a global cyber fraud network engaged in massive money laundering, fueled by forced labor. They were running everything from romance scams to voice phishing. You know, that's where scammers call you, pretend to be officials, and try to steal your personal info.
Of course, an operation that big doesn't go unnoticed forever. And what happened next wasn't just a single investigation. It was a massive, coordinated crackdown that spanned the entire globe.
And the takedown was a true team effort. The US hit him with sanctions and criminal charges, the UK froze millions in assets, China had its own special investigation going, and neighboring countries like Thailand and Singapore jumped in, opening their own probes. The net was tightening from every single direction.
And the money involved? It's just staggering. The U.S. Department of Justice seized more than 127,000 Bitcoin connected to the case. At the time, that was worth a mind-boggling $15 billion. This wasn't just a big bust, it was one of the largest crypto seizures in history.
And it wasn't just crypto. The empire's financial tentacles reached into physical assets all over the world. Just in the UK, authorities froze 19 properties, including a single office building in London that was valued at £100 million. So it all comes back to that crucial question: why run? Well, the answer is pretty simple. If he was captured and convicted on just the U.S. charges alone, Chen Zhi was looking at a potential 40-year prison sentence. I mean, the stakes just could not have been higher for him.
So, as the kingpin vanished, the empire he left behind in Cambodia started to fracture, and it happened almost immediately. In the middle of this growing crisis, his flagship company, Prince Bank, scrambled to look stable. They put out an official statement, a simple one. The bank is still operating normally and in compliance with the law. Basically, nothing to see here, folks, business as usual.
But, you know, there's the corporate spin, and then there's the reality on the ground. And the two could not have been more different. While the bank was claiming it was business as usual, the public was not buying it for a second. On the streets of Phnom Penh, hundreds of panicked customers were lining up, desperate to pull out their life savings. All that trust had just evaporated, basically overnight.
And this brings us to one last really crucial thought. The story of Chen Zhi isn't just about one man. It's about these vast, shadowy networks that allow people like him to rise in the first place. His empire might be crumbling, but the system that created it, that's still there. So the real question isn't just where is Chen Zhi? It's when one kingpin of a global network falls, who is already